The new Star Wars timeline is great. In this video I will explain to you how the new Star Wars timeline actually works. Star Wars has so many different stories and it's sometimes difficult to keep up with everything. So make sure you stick around until the end of the video so you don't miss anything, because every step is very important. The way the timeline works is that the timeline is currently being separated into 9 different eras, and I'm going to explain each and every era to you. So let's start with the first one. The earliest era is known as the Dawn of the Jedi era. It takes place 25,000 years before the events of A New Hope. Very little is currently known about this era, but in this era the Jedi Order was created, and the droid Huyang that you could recognize from the Star Wars The Clone Wars and the Ahsoka show was built in this era too. Last year at Star Wars Celebration it was announced that a future movie directed by James Mangold is going to be about this era, but until then this was literally everything we know about the Dawn of the Jedi era in canon. The next era is called the Old Republic era, and it lasted until 1000 years before the events of A New Hope. This era marks the creation of the Galactic Republic and the creation of the evil Sith Order. Like the Dawn of the Jedi era, this era is very unexplored in current canon. But in Legends, this era became a favorite for its epic storytelling and the first battles between Jedi and Sith. This era is also the place for many fan favorite characters like Darth Bane and Darth Revan. Both characters are canon, by the way. The last days of the Old Republic saw the Jedi defeating all the Sith once and for all, except for Darth Bane, who secretly survives and creates the Rule of Two. The Old Republic is followed by the High Republic, which lasted until 100 years before the events of A New Hope. This era is the golden age of the Jedi and Republic. The Jedi are very respected in the galaxy, being symbols of hope and peace, wearing gold, brown and white robes. A group called the Nile are aiming for more power during this era, and they are using secret hyperspace routes that the Jedi don't know about to cause chaos in the galaxy. The Sith live still in secret, with Darth Plagueis planning his next move. Existing stories within this era is the entire The High Republic publishing initiative, the Disney Plus show The Acolyte and the animated show Young Jedi Adventures. The fourth out of 9 eras is the Fall of the Jedi era. It lasted until 19 years before the events of A New Hope. Darth Plagueis and his apprentice Darth Sidious finally fulfill the secret Sith plan, which the Sith have been working on for decades. Sidious then kills Plagueis so he can fulfill the plan on his own and searches for his own apprentices. Sidious orchestrates a war known as the Clone Wars, which had no good impacts on the Jedi and the galaxy. During that war, Sidious successfully turned the Chosen One Anakin Skywalker to the dark side and he becomes Darth Vader, his new apprentice. He also ordered Order 66, in which all the clones who fought side by side with the Jedi betrayed the Jedi, killing them all, except for a few survivors like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda or Ahsoka Tano. With the Jedi gone, Sidious declared himself Emperor of the Galaxy, creating the first Galactic Empire. This era is featured in the entire prequel trilogy and the animated shows Tales of the Jedi and The Clone Wars. The reign of the Empire era lasted until 0 years before the events of A New Hope. The Empire is in full control of the galaxy, and the Sith and the Inquisitors are hunting down the last Jedi survivors. During this time, a lot of small rebel cells are being built, such as the Clone Network, the Ghost Crew, the Partisans and the Hidden Path to opposite the Empire. While these groups are fighting for freedom, they have no idea that the Empire is building a secret superweapon called the Death Star. This era is featured in the animated shows Star Wars Rebels, Tales of the Empire, The Bad Batch, in the live action shows Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor, in the video games Vader Immortal and the Jedi games, and in the 2 spin-off movies Solo: A Star Wars Story and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. By the end of this era, a lot of these rebel cells merged together into one big rebellion. Their victory at the Battle of Scarif brings us to the next era, which is called the Age of Rebellion era, which lasted from 0 to 5 years after the events of A New Hope. The rebellion takes a stand against the Empire. The surviving Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi teaches Luke Skywalker the ways of the Force and brings him together with Leia Organa and the smuggler Han Solo. Luke successfully destroyed the Death Star after Darth Vader killed his former master Obi-Wan Kenobi. With the Death Star gone, people in the galaxy realize that the Empire is vulnerable. Luke is further trained by another Jedi survivor named Yoda, and Luke soon finds out, to his surprise, that Darth Vader is his father, once called Anakin Skywalker, and that Leia Organa is his long-lost twin sister. After more battles and confrontations on Hoth or Bespin, it all went down at the Battle of Endor. Luke Skywalker successfully turned his father Darth Vader back to the light so he could become Anakin Skywalker again. Anakin sacrifices himself and kills the Emperor while saving his son Luke. The rebellion won on Endor and the big fleet of the Empire was defeated at the Battle of Jakku a year later. The Age of Rebellion era is featured in the original trilogy and the games Star Wars Outlaws and the campaign of Battlefront 2. With the rebellion being victorious, they've built a new organization called the New Republic, which is why this era is called the New Republic era. It lasted from 5 to 33 years after the events of A New Hope. The last remaining Imperial remnants are being hunted down, such as Moff Gideon's remnant, who's in conflict with the Mandalorians. The last remaining Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn is trying to merge all remaining remnants into one new empire, but without success because some remnants chose to remain secret. Some of these hidden remnants are working on a new organization called the First Order, who's growing stronger and stronger in the shadows. The New Republic has no clue that they exist. Luke Skywalker is trying to rebuild the Jedi Order, looking for students in the galaxy. By the end of this era, Luke Skywalker's nephew Ben Solo turned to the dark side, destroying his Jedi Order and joining the First Order. The First Order then finally emerges and gets into conflict with the New Republic. This era is featured in the shows The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and the upcoming movies The Mandalorian and Grogu, and a Dave Filoni directed film that currently has no title, and the video game Star Wars Squadrons. With the First Order rivaling the New Republic, we are in a new era called Rise of the First Order era, which lasted from 33 to 35 years after the events of A New Hope. The First Order wins its battle against the New Republic by blowing up the New Republic Senate and core worlds. A small resistance group is formed by Leia Organa and they oppose the First Order. When a young Force-sensitive woman named Rey is found on Jakku, she travels to Ahch-To, where she meets Luke Skywalker, who trains her in the ways of the Jedi. Luke sacrifices himself to save the Resistance, so hope in the galaxy is still present. Out of nowhere, the galaxy is in shock when former Emperor Palpatine comes back from the dead and announces his return. The Sith are back, but so are the Jedi with Rey. Rey and the Resistance have one final battle at the Sith world Exegol. Citizens of the galaxy finally take a stand against the First Order, which is why thousands of ships are helping the Resistance on Exegol. Rey successfully turned Ben Solo back to the light, and together they defeat Palpatine, killing him once and for all. With Palpatine dead, the First Order is finally gone. This era is featured in the animated show Star Wars Resistance and the sequel trilogy. Now we are heading into the final era of this video, the New Jedi Order era, which takes place 48 years after the events of A New Hope. The galaxy is healing after multiple years of war. In honor of her masters, Rey has taken the Skywalker name and wants to lead a new Jedi Order. This era will be more explored in a new movie that is planned to come out in the near future. And that was everything you need to know about the new Star Wars timeline. So smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more Star Wars videos, like this video where I explain what's next for The Mandalorian. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you, always.